Yo, what's going on, my fellow revelers? Welcome back to another episode of the Festia Podcast. I'm your host, Manny, aka Frisky Hug. And for those watching the YouTube video right now, you can see that I am in a beautiful city called Tampa. It's actually Oldsmar. I'm here visiting one of my best friends. I'm just kind of waiting for him to get off work. We're going to do a bunch of stuff together. I am right now in my little content creator zone, finally, because it has been a good minute since I have been in a content creator zone. Just kind of been in my own head, honestly, the last like 3-4 weeks. I don't know what's been going on. Maybe like Mercury is drinking Gatorade. I'm not really sure. But I'm back. I feel refreshed. I feel good. I feel like I have a really good support system. For those of you that don't know, I came from Colorado. Before then, I was in Texas. Before that, I was in California. So I've been moving a lot. And I made this huge move to come to Florida, having really only one friend, no job lined up, nothing, right? So I've been kind of dealing a lot with my transition out of the military. So I am a veteran. I'm trying to get my disability stuff. I got pretty jacked up in the military, so I'm trying to get compensated for all of that. But yeah, for the special guest for today, we are going to have a DJ duo. They go by Nimbvs, and I do ask some of like those questions like, what's it like having like a DJ duo versus having like just being a single person. I know that I can be hard sometimes, just being in like two people versus just one. So I really hope you guys enjoy this episode and have fun. Yo, how's it going, everybody? So I'd like to welcome the Nimbvs DJ group to the podcast.
Hey guys, what's up?
So I met these two guys over, I think it was like Gainesville, and they were there for, I think Butler was playing and Protection was playing. I never been to Gainesville, so that was pretty a pretty different experience. It was like basically like a whole little college town thing. But hey, you two, for the viewers that don't actually know who you guys are, I think quick little intro would be great if you guys wouldn't mind.
All right, you want to go first? Yeah, for sure, dude. I'm Alex, and this is Andrew right here. We've been a duo for about a year and a half, and we make bass music in general. A lot of it's melodic bass, but we kind of experiment with everything. Like we got some dubstep, some tear out, pretty much like bass music. And we like all EDM though. We love music and everything. And our name is Nimbvs. Kind of got a little bit of a biblical meaning behind our brand, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
What was the decision between like finding the name Nimbvs?
Well, originally our name was Hearsay, and we stuck with that name for like 7 months, and we started to get a tiny little bit of traction. Like we started getting like a good amount of shows pretty constantly,
right?
And we knew about another Hearsay in New York, but they hadn't posted anything in like 2 years, so we figured that they had just broke things off. But shortly after we played a show opening for Funkcase, we got an email from the other Hearsay saying that the name was trademarked, and they gave us a cease and desist email. They were super nice about it though. So they were like, call us if you have any questions. And I was like freaking out. So I like called them, and they were super cool about it. But so we were just like trying to figure out what we wanted to change the name to. And I was just like, I don't know, just thinking of things that sound cool. And I came across Nimbvs, and I looked up the meaning, and then it came up with like there's the cumulonimbus cloud, but there's a nimbus is also like a halo. And so we were like, dang, that's a really sick idea. So that's what we started to stick with.
When I hear Nimbvs, when I hear Nimbvs, I think Dragon Ball Z Nimbus Cloud.
Yeah. It's also Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Is it?
Morty.
I don't know. It's pretty cool to come up with names. It just sucks that you come up with a name and then it's trademarked and stuff. Like I've talked to so many.
Believe me, this time I searched the entire United States trademark database.
Yeah,
there are no NIM BVS people with making any kind of music that have a trademark license right now. So we're good for now.
Yeah, we're good for now.
Yeah,
we gotta get that filed.
I mean, I thought the same thing, right? I mean, so you guys just want to come up with a really unique name. Otherwise, you just get lucky. And I've actually talked to a couple of DJs, and like they've had like the one thing you always got to do is you got to Google yourself. Google yourself, and if you aren't the fucking first person that appears on that Google, there's probably a problem, right? And it doesn't become a problem until you start getting money. So that's probably what happened. The moment you started receiving money, then hey, like it's already taken. You can't do that,
Yeah,
So,
well, I think what happened is those guys basically quit a little bit before COVID. I wouldn't say quit, but right when COVID happened, they just like they went AWOL for a while, and then in the like right before 2022, and they live in New York, so it took a while, I guess, for a lot of things to get rolling again. And then I guess once shows started happening again, they started becoming more active on socials and stuff again. Found us, and they were like, "Hey guys, we're actually trying to like."
Well, it was actually
still do this.
It was actually their friend that actually lived in Florida. And I'm pretty sure that person lived close to Jacksonville and was friends with the other Hearsay, and they saw our name on a flyer and they texted them, obviously thinking it was them, like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you were playing a show in Florida." And they were like, "What?"
I mean, what are the chances that it wasn't actually trademarked, but when he heard that you guys were playing there, he's like, "Ooh, I have to trademark it right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't say anything."
Either way, dude, they're both lawyers.
Yeah,
so
they're
we
both
didn't
lawyers.
Really
Yeah, we were like in the worst possible.
Even if it wasn't trademarked, like, I would assume two lawyer DJs are going to get on that a little bit faster than us.
Yeah.
They both had Esquire at the end of the name, and I was like, "That's the end of that."
How long have you two been making music individually and separately?
Well, we started
individually and together.
We started making music like together. Like we both started at the same time, because there was really never a point where we had our like own project and we just came together. Like we started as a duo.
Yeah, I would say I had like an Ableton trial on my computer once or twice before we started, but it wasn't anything like serious at all. It was like just having a DJ board and like, maybe downloading Ableton once or twice and like trying to like use it and then getting frustrated, but like almost nothing until like the cumulative 6 months prior to us starting the project. Like we probably spent more on the first month of us actually like, deciding to be a duo than I did fucking around for the first like 6 or 7 months ahead of DJ board. So yeah, pretty much exactly at the same time is when we both.
So you had a DJ board. You already kind of like had the idea of becoming a DJ and stuff ahead of time, or what?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was more so like, this is fun, and let's bring it to events and play around with it.
Okay.
And then I was at work one day, and I knew he like had some background in band and music and stuff, and I was like, how much formal music theory knowledge do you have? And he had just moved to Jacksonville, so it was kind of perfect timing too. And he was like, well, actually a ton, like a lot of like music theory training and all that, and has played multiple instruments before and stuff like that. And so I was like, that's kind of perfect because I mean, I didn't really know much at the time, but I kind of like was somewhat aware of like the scene and like how to like at least get started, like at least like at least that we needed to make some social media accounts and a SoundCloud and like which clubs had shows and like the basic like stuff like that we needed to know to meet our first people and learn our first information. And then he had like pretty much all the timing and music theory knowledge of all that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. There's a lot that goes into basically formulating a plan in order to get started. And that goes with anything in life, right? So like when you guys decided, okay, we're going to take this serious and we're going to make like a name for ourselves together, you know, like you said, you started the SoundCloud, the social media accounts. You have to, man. And that's like when you take something serious, you have basically everything has to go in together. So you guys made an email with the name, accounts for social media, and your SoundCloud, Spotify's, everything. In order to get started, you have to be legit, right? So like that means that everything has to change, and you can't even get started until all that shit's done first. So like for people wanting to like either start a business or become a DJ, stuff like that, remember you have to put in the effort. It'll take you probably like a whole day just to get every social media account, everything linked in together, and the whole thing. So like, especially like as a duo team, now you have like, on a good note, it is a duo team. So one of you guys can be on the accounts at a time, you know? So it's not like one person's putting all the work, which is like a plus if you think about it.
And it's important to not like be worried about step 100 before step 1. Yeah. So like you gotta just know, like when you're starting anything like that, you got to be really good at just knowing step 1 and not having to like decipher the rest of the plan right away. Because it took me like right now, I think, and that plan might evolve still, but I think I'm like very clear, and we're very clear on what the next 5 to 10 years looks like. Like even the next 20 years, like 30 years, what we need to do, what we want to do, what the plan is, and like how we're going to do it step by step. Like even to the point of bigger than like just being a touring act, like, you know, but we can't do that until we accomplish the first goal. So like we didn't know anything, and we didn't worry about like how are we gonna make this a career from the start. Like like the first thing was just like, okay, I mean, like make a SoundCloud, make some Instagram, and then you gotta just do it, and you know, try what you think you're supposed to do. And then, you know, once you've tried, you know, go reassess and learn. It's really important. It's really important to learn as much as you can in all aspects of everything. It's not just a technical information thing either. It's like the way you go about things, like your mindset and everything is like, I feel like most people have like a lot of things just completely skewed in their head because they didn't ever question their beliefs going into it. They just like go with what's most logical instead of.
And I was gonna say, it's like a lot of the times someone's ego can get in the way of them learning, right? So and in order when you don't let your ego get in the way, you become a sponge and you just soak it all in, man. There's nothing worse than somebody who lets their ego get in the way and they're just cocky and they're stubborn. I'm like, bro, there's a reason why you've been DJing for 10 years and you're still playing at high school parties. There's a big reason for that.
I mean, it's like either not knowing what's important, what's important, or knowing what should be important and choosing to make other things important instead, because that's what makes you have fun in the moment, not what's going to work in 10 years. Like, I mean, a lot of people will join like little engagement groups on social media and like have 1 million SoundCloud repost chains, but that they pay for, but like haven't gone out, like bought a website or something. Dead. Like they like, or they don't have like a logo, but they're in engagement groups. They're spending time on like little things like that. And it's just like a mindset thing of like, what's gonna get you ahead is thinking like, what do I need to do to be successful in 10 years? Not what do I need to do to get attention right the fuck now?
Yeah. And I mean, like being in engagement groups and stuff like that, it's not a bad thing to do per se, but like when you prioritize that over the really like important stuff that's gonna like be really beneficial to you in the long run, that's when the problem arises.
I think instead of spending time in these engagement groups to, I guess, trick the algorithm, you should actually be paying attention more on creating real networking opportunities.
And you know this best because like you haven't even like, I mean, just by like creating like stuff that people like, not even being like a musician or whatever, you've been able to grow like a really substantial following. And it's really just like, if no matter how you do it, if you create value for other people, you will succeed. Like if you make other people go up, or like if you make something that other people enjoy, like you.
My internet cutting out.
Is putting their time and attention towards, like, that's what's gonna work.
I mean, so it always comes down to that, man. What you're gonna be focusing your time and energy on, right? That's just it. We only have 24 hours in a day. If you're wasting 4 of those hours worrying about the wrong thing, you know, sometimes that can become an issue. I like to prioritize my time and energy. So I actually don't really think too much about like all these things like on TikTok and Instagram. Like, I'll be honest, I got lucky with like, honestly, most of these followers. Like, I think on TikTok, I just put up some stupid video, man. I just thought it was funny. I wake up in the middle of the night and I gain 10,000 followers and 6 million views. Just happens.
And you know what? The key word there is you thought it was funny. You weren't doing it to get followers. You were doing it because you genuinely thought it was good, and that's why it got support.
And you can tell when people are like trying way too hard to get attention, and like what people like that don't realize is that like people can see when you're trying too hard and you're like trying way too hard to get attention, and that turns people off. That actually does the complete opposite of what you're
I was literally telling one of my friends that I think last week, those exact same words, because he was telling me, he's like, man, you've been kind of slacking on your content creating. And I'm like, honestly, it's because I can't think of anything that I like. Like, I'm not going to just post to post. I don't believe in that. I believe if I'm going to post, it has a meaning normally to it, whether I'm doing a promotion or whether or not I'm like advertising a clothing brand. I'm not going to post something just because, oh, shoot, it's Tuesday. I haven't done my daily post of the day. I am so sorry. I don't think like that. I just can't.
And then honestly, the same thing goes for music as well. Like, when we were, God, when was it? I think we were about like 7-8 months into making music, and we started out as like a dubstep duo, just tear out, and then Alex bad tear out. It was very bad, but Alex kind of brought up that, I mean, you know, it's not really captivating. I don't know, like, I want to make something else. And then so we started trying to make future bass, and then Alex was like, wait, like, what if we did like down tempo? And both of us kind of went through like an identity crisis of like, oh my shit, what do we want to make? And then we were like kind of sequestering ourselves to like one genre, and then like a couple months after that, we were like, why don't we just do everything? Like just like
make it
release what we like, and like who gives a shit like what other people like want. I mean, we want to give value to other people, but ultimately we want to release what we like, because we know now we know that like if we make what we like, it's going to be good because we like doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
and the idea that you can't do that without giving up a consistent brand is like, I think something that I definitely want to squash. Like, I think you can 100% need a very purposeful brand and identity to grow a business, an artist project, anything like that. But and the same token, that doesn't mean you have to stick to like one particular exact formula of song. Like, you can still fluctuate. You just have to do it in your own way, and not oh, I'm gonna try to copy Illenium today, oh, I'm gonna try to copy Sudden Death today, because then it'll sound all over the place, because those are like completely different producers that produce in completely different ways,
right?
But if you're trying to make your own sound in a different genre, it still sounds like your own sound.
Right. Yeah, and like, you know, sometimes it can be hard to kind of differentiate those two though, right? Because even Getter, a very well-known DJ, right, decided to do his visceral remix set or whatever, right? And that's a completely different genre. And you basically tricked all of your following thinking that you were going to give this great set or whatever, when in return, that entire album was a completely different genre. So everybody felt tricked. Everyone felt like, you know, they were basically clickbaited into going to the show. not had listening to this album yet, you know what I mean? So it's like, whoa, like this isn't the Getter that I thought, you know? So when you get to that level of fame, and when you're talking, like you just said, Aladdin and Sudden Death, completely two different genres to a point, because Marshmello did collab with Marshmello did collab with Sudden Death, completely two different genres too, made an insane song, right? So at some point when you're like, when you're actually performing, sometimes it might be better to perform something in the middle anyways, because like, let's say Slander did it back to back with Subtronics, two different genres, but they were so fire, right? Like,
yeah, I remember that.
so it's so weird. There's like a little line, and you just have to be very careful when you cross that line. You can't cross it at a regular like show where people are expected to see you play a certain thing, without them being informed. Like right next to that should have been like, techno or house set. So you can still have the same name, but it has to be like parentheses house set. You know what I mean? So they know that they're coming into something different.
Well, I mean, I guess if someone has their like entire brand, like for example, Sudden Death.
Yeah.
You know what you're expecting when you just see the name Sudden Death on a lineup, because his entire brand is death step, and he's very, very, very good at it. So he's allowed to. He likes making it too, but I think what we kind of pride ourselves on is if you see a set of ours, we always incorporate like a little bit of everything, or we try to. I mean, a lot of it is a lot of like crazy dubstep, insane doubles, chops, and whatever, and future bass and our music. But we love to sprinkle in like house and drum and bass, and like we like, and sometimes even trance. Like we like to get a little bit of everything, get a little melting pot going. So just because like that's just what we like to do. That's our thing.
I think that as a smaller brand, and a smaller DJ group that you guys are entitled to experiment and try and throw in any genres that you guys feel like. Also, the more genres you even dabble with, the more opportunities you'll get to play certain events, right? Like, oh, hey, they're doing a techno lineup right now. You guys are entitled to go and be on this lineup because you're still starting off, you're still new. And at this point, you need, all of the, followers that love your music as much as possible, whether it's from different brands or different styles. I mean, I think as a smaller brand, you're allowed to dabble as much as you want. You're still very new. Sometimes you'll even find who was it for? I don't know if you guys know who Eddie Gold is. He was from Atlanta, but he was doing like hard dubstep, and then he switched over to house. You know what I mean? Because he's still a fairly new brand, and he realized that he started to enjoy house a little bit more, and his followers did too. I mean, his first like month releasing a house set, he ended up getting probably the most views within the last 10 years that he's been DJing. In 1 month, he got more views in 1 month than he did in the entire 10 years of DJing. So it's like, it doesn't hurt to try new things either, and experiment as much as possible. Who knows? Maybe you guys will find a style that's never been tried before.
I definitely want to, we throw a lot of genres in our sets, but I do want to clarify and say we 100% have found our sound.
Yeah.
We are like, when you go, obviously I don't know Nimbvs set is exactly the same. But you're going to hear a very familiar set layout. You're gonna know what you're gonna get from the set if you see one more than twice. You're gonna get a very similar one. Now, will they vary a little bit? Will they change? Obviously, because we don't want to I don't want to be boring, but it's also important to have something you're known for, have a very specific set. And I think that is that we make mostly bass music, and we're going to start off a lot of sets super heavy, super crazy, but that we're always going to throw in other genres too, and we're always going to have that melodic side to it. And if the vibe fits it, throw a house song in there every now and then. It really depends on the venue too. Small clubs are really fun to just go over and over and over again, no breaks, just after it. But bigger like if you're outside playing, it's a lot more fun to slow it down and play some like melodic stuff, you know?
Right. No, you know, it's all about reading your audience, right? So know your audience and then work around that, especially work around your environment. Sometimes places are different, right? If there's a rail, then by all means, you know,
Yeah.
throw those headbangers in there. But if there's no rail and it's like a picnic setting, I mean, and you're fucking throwing down sudden death, like, hey, chill for a sec, bro.
I mean, there's no rail at Celine, and I mean, were you at the snail show? Like, that was insane.
Yeah.
That whole night was just the pure insanity, and there is no rail in Celine.
Here, I would say an example of how we like might make two slightly different sets is so like in Jacksonville, our hometown, we have Myth. At Myth in the main room, no matter who we're playing support for, we're probably gonna go kind of crazy. Like we're probably gonna throw a lot because that's what that audience likes, and it's a super small club. And I just think like dubstep works in super small rooms. Like it's hard. Like it goes off. But say we got like booked at the Vanguard or like a small stage at a festival, like the local artist stage or like one of the Florida festivals, something like that. Then we're gonna play dubstep too, but we're gonna play a much more melodic, like slowed down set with more breaks and more build-ups and stuff and less long dubstep drops, you know, because there's just like there's more open room, there's more people there, like the sound like spreads out better. It's just a different vibe.
What are some of the opportunities you guys have gotten in the past? Where have you guys played?
Well, so all right, our first huge opportunity was when we played for Fun Case in July of 21, and then
you said that like 1921.
Yes, very we've been DJing for 101 years. Nah. So our first big one was Fun Case, and then we didn't really have that many up until the new year.
Yeah.
We played a EDC pre-party. We played direct support for Game Boys at the Tavern, and then we were just playing like smaller shows here and there, and then the new year hit.
Yeah.
Then we played at the Wonky Woods Camping Festival, which was so much fun. And then we didn't play for a while after that, but then we really started to pick up. We played support for Wookie.
I love Wookie. We were just playing some Wookie songs at the house last night.
He's such a nice guy. Cool. Yeah, we got to spend like 5 minutes with him after the set. Upstairs, and he's so chill. I think he said he got into some of the cryptos like super early. I think I heard like a hundreds number on Ethereum.
He got into Bitcoin at like $600.
Something crazy.
Insane.
I don't know. We might be messing it up, and I wouldn't want to also like disclose like financial information.
Yeah. Let you guys
basically like
you guys
can cut out any direct numbers we threw in, but he said he got into crypto real early.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with this podcast, man. It's weird because like you never know who's like listening. And I've already gotten about 3 DMs saying like, hey, I don't appreciate you throwing my name out in your podcast because you guys don't know anything about me. You guys like are just slandering me. I'm like, bro, I've said nothing but nice things in this podcast. I don't go around, slandering anybody.
Feel free to cut anything out that we say about like people we met.
Anything that like let's say Wookie contacts me like, hey, I don't appreciate you guys talking about my finances and stuff like that, which he probably won't, but you never know. The podcast gets weird reaches like that. That's why I'm saying it now. It gets weird reaches where like somebody actually very well known will contact me, and it's like, oh, hey, this was sent by one of my followers, and I listen to it. It's like, which is funny because like one moment you're really proud that the podcast is doing so well that somebody that's like verified and stuff is like listening to it, but at the same time it also sucks because like they're DMing you to be like, hey, cut that part out. Like whatever. I've had to cut the podcast like a lot. But I wait till it gets to that point. Like if there's always a warning. You're gonna tell me first. You're not gonna just be like talking shit about me at the end, right? But like,
yeah, and I'm sure he wouldn't have told two random local DJs he's never met something that he would,
if he didn't
that
want,
he wouldn't want told to other people.
yeah, right. It's like a bragging thing. He's bragging at this point.
Mean, yeah, and I wouldn't say it was like a brag. I mean, we asked him about it, but also like we had never met the dude before. I don't think he would tell us anything he didn't want, like, you know, told to plenty of people.
Told 100 people.
Yeah. Well, so we played the support show for Wookiee, and then we played for this new group called Red Cup Nation, but they didn't end up making their flight, so they didn't actually show up. And then we played for High and Ghost, and then we played for Drink Your Water, and we played for Freaky, and we just played support for Abstract last Thursday. So that was fun, and we have a really big one coming up in July that we can't really talk about yet. But that's going to be freaking awesome. And then, of course, we have home base. Which
man, congratulations on home base. Since we just jumped into that topic, let's talk a little bit about how did that get started? How was the process? What kind of contest was it? Or was it a contest? I don't know. I don't really know much about it.
It was a DJ competition. And I don't remember how we even found out about it, but I texted him. I was like, hey, do you want to like enter this? And it was like around the same time the Electric Forest competition came out. And we were just like, you know what, like, let's do it. So we threw a mix together. Like, we wanted to incorporate, you know, as much of our like edits and our unreleased songs.
Yeah.
And because we're like sitting on a shit ton of IDs right now that are really good. We cannot wait to get out. But
when are you guys planning on getting those out?
So we got a lot of collabs right now. So that's just like we're really quick with it, and we're anything that we just made ourselves. The only thing that's waiting on is we're going to do once a month and not any more than that. So it's just a matter of like waiting till once a month gets to that, you know, particular song. And then with the collabs, it's like, it's just up to the other guys. We get songs like busted out really quick, and then we'll go like a while before starting another idea. And then, you know, with other people having busy schedules and like 1,000 other people.
Listen, man, I'm a podcast host, bro. I know all about.
Well, so we wanted to get all these IDs in there, and we were just like, we got this mix together, and we were like, yeah, this is pretty good. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure we got a good chance at winning this, and then we just submitted it, and then we ended up winning. So that was really cool.
Yeah. And back to songs and stuff coming up. We do the only thing like scheduled right now. We got on Friday actually. What's the date? I think it's on Friday. It's on Friday. Yeah, this Friday. We're dropping like 5 remixes from, you know, a couple producers we're friends with.
Okay.
From our EP that we dropped back in March. Yeah, so that should be fun. They're all pretty
on SoundCloud and on Spotify, or
all platforms. Yeah, it should be fun. We got our buddy What's That, AK Rennie, our friend Alias, and then Chance the Alchemist and Cyan, and those are great because I believe every single remix is a different genre. You know, there's 2 bass ones in there, but one of them I think is like, you know, down tempo, left field like type bass,
experiment,
and one very experimental freeform, and the other one is like a trappy 140 like bass, you know, 160 like
drum and bass speed, but very like left field. It's awesome. I love that remix. Oh my god.
I mean, honestly, man, I mean, just keep throwing out every single one of these remixes, you know, keep throwing out these songs, man. Like, you never know who the fuck is listening. You never know what kind of opportunities you're going to have. Like, dude, right now, I'm like so happy for like Drink Your Water, man. Cause I know how long he's been doing this for, and like to hear Like a Stranger and Excision just throwing out his bangers, I'm just like, I'm literally in the middle of a festival.
Dude, I've been waiting for Ear Tickle to come out for like a billion years, and
Bro,
I can.
when I heard that from Like a Stranger live, I was like, what?
Oh my! Excision played it at the Coliseum, and I was just like losing my mind.
And I'm literally just recording this and sending it to him. I'm like, bro, this is so cool listening to this live, man.
Yeah.
You know, and then
I love Drink Your Water's music.
You know, and then like, you know, Drink Your Water, and like fucking Wakan ended up posting it about it on their page as well. Like, you know, how Like a Stranger.
Ear Tickle's gonna be like one of the most anticipated tunes. I hope it comes. I'm assuming it's gotta come out this year. It's like Ear Tickle and Laser Beam, and those are the two that are gonna define this year, basically.
Well, I mean, fucking, I think Excision played Space Water for Forbidden Kingdom.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I recorded it and like sent it to him. I'm like, whoa, did he just play Space Water?
What was that song?
I remember because I was actually like sitting, like laying down, just fucking feeling the moment, and then I hear the song, my ass just gets up. All my endorphins just kicking in, and I was like, record mode.
Was that on the first night or the second night?
That was on it was for the, I think it was night one. It was night one.
Oh yeah, no, I was tripping balls that night. Yeah, I don't remember that.
I wasn't in the same planet. It's okay. No, yeah, I got up so fucking quick from my seat. My buddy looks at me, I look at him, and I was like, dude, it's our boy. That shit was so cool. I don't know, man. What are some of the differences that, well, I don't know, you guys kind of didn't really like play on your own really, but like what are some of the differences that you noticed by having a duo DJ brand versus like if it was like a single?
Yeah, so I know before the podcast you talked about like us mentioning pros versus cons of doing it, and what I would say is like the pro, like the biggest pro can also be the biggest con,
right,
depending on who you choose. And I think that's the same if you start a business. So your partner is really important if you're going to have a partner. And you can't be good at the same things. Like you should complement each other in your ideas and your vision, but like you can't be the same. Like we work well because we're the same in some ways, but the things we're good at and the things we like are very different. Like we both have crazy ADHD, and like our workflow can function very similar. But I would say like I'm much more of like visionary brand marketing, like, and then as far as music goes, like I'm much more into like the audio engineering, like mixing and mastering and all the sound design, like super detailed stuff, whereas he is much more like, you know, finishing songs, making edits, like the DJ sets, like starting ideas basically for the songs. Like most of our songs, like he'll start the idea and then I'll go, okay, here's like the problems I see with it. Here's where I think it could go better. But like the overall idea, like the musical composition comes from him. And
you know, it's funny.
I don't really even try to mess with that anymore. To be honest, because it's just better like when he does it.
Well, it's funny because like actually I think one of the most important things is having the idea, right? Because you can't, all this other shit you can't even have if you don't even have the idea. So that's the most important thing. So like brainstorming and having these ideas, even if they fucking suck, it's the fact that you have it, and then somebody else to come and kind of pitch in and then start doing something with it. Because I think that's the hardest thing, having the fucking idea. If you don't have an idea, then you really can't even incorporate all these other skills.
And that's where like I feel like we're kind of blessed, because like when I was in the College of Music at Florida State, I had no plans. I didn't even like EDM at that point. I was just like, I was in the College of Music. I was just like, you know, doing music because I loved it. But I was in like classical music, and you know, I was taking theory at the third best college of music in the United States. And so And then I left because I fell out of love with music.
Mhm.
And then when we met, he kind of got me back into EDM because, of course, we all listened to it back, you know, in 2012 when Skrillex was huge and we were all into dubstep in middle school. And, you know, I had that phase, but then I got out of it. And then he kind of brought me back in. And then I started to listen to it a little bit.
You just aged me when you said that. So I'm like, you said 2012 when we were all in middle school, bro. In 2012, I was meeting Skrillex.
Yeah, no, I was like,
yeah, I was a little kid, but we're young. You're 22, I'm 21.
Yeah, so we're still super young, but he brought me back into EDM, and then I had been out of the College of Music by that point. I had moved to Jacksonville, and that's when he texted me and was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And so that's why we're like kind of blessed, because I know the rules of theory. Like, I didn't take all of the theory courses that were required for being a music major, but I took enough to where I know what's right and I know what's wrong. Like,
and basically every single piece of music theory, you need to be an EDM producer. It was probably taught during his first theory class.
Yeah,
so he didn't
nice.
go that far.
Yeah, like I took 3 theory classes and I failed the 3rd one, and I feel like I'm great. So
I mean, it's funny because like if I was to try like DJing, I wouldn't know what's right from wrong. And I'm pretty sure if I threw out a song, every DJ would be like, dude, there's so much wrong with this set. I'd be like,
yeah. I mean, that was us when we started.
Yeah, and honestly, it's obviously not like where it's gonna get. Like, we look a year back and we're like, that music sucked. In 2 years, we're probably gonna say this music is like, you know, not our best, but that's how it goes. Like,
you
can't not put stuff out just because it's not perfect yet, or you would miss, you know, 5 years of getting famous. Like, because it's not going to be perfect for 5 to 10 years, because it takes 10,000 hours. Like, even people that are getting their first big label releases, like, a lot of their songs probably still like aren't polished. That was just their one song that was like, it's like you're not great. You're not pristine like at something, like a master at something, until you've really devoted, like, you know, a good chunk of your life to it, 5-10 years at least, you know. You don't find many people playing drums for a major band that has been playing drums for the last 2 years. Like, they've been doing it since they were kids.
What do you guys expect out of what you guys are doing right now? How old are you guys right now?
21, 22.
So what do you guys expect? Where do you guys expect to be at the age of 30? Like, what is your guys' expectations? Are they the same or are they different?
I mean, we both kind of have a mutual understanding of what we want to do with this.
I would say I feel like I'm a little bit more far looking, just because that's the nature of like my role and us, is like, I'm very like visionary, like new shit to do. How are we gonna like make the master plan?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, you're very like direct, really 5-year, 10-year goals, you know.
Yeah, but I think we have a shared vision, but I might have more details mapped out for like once we become touring DJs. Because I think right now the plan is just like, you know, make enough to live off of music and then continue to invest in it. Which so you know, that's a lot more than the number that's required to just live off of it. We got to get to the point, like right now, the number one long-term goal right now, get to the point where we can both be living off of the money we're making from music, so we get all of our time back to then invest it into music, and also at that same time, before we even go full time, have enough money to where we're not just living off it, we're still being able to continue to invest money into people and you know, projects.
I mean, I think we're on the same boat. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at, the point where like I'm trying to make sure that I can live off whatever all the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm not even a DJ, so I got to make sure I can get paid just being a regular person, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm the same way. It's like, how can I make it so that my bills are paid doing this, right?
Yeah. And in terms of when we're 30, 35, I would say like the full-time thing is a 5 to 10 year like grind, like the next like it's going to be most of our 20s. But if you're looking past 30, I would say I definitely want to expand it into much more of like a music-based business, like that, you know, and to where we get really, really good at our one, you know, thing, which is making music first. We're touring. We're just like the few people that have expanded beyond that, like Excision, you know, people like that. Like the chain smokers, they have a venture capital fund and are starting a couple of businesses. You know, they get to the point where they're really good at the music first, and then they start creating businesses around that music that, like, you know, is going to keep paying them when they're done, you know, DJing every day and stuff like that. And so, you know, that's like that. What that looks like is like, you know, starting your own record label, like
exactly, starting your record label,
starting schools and like, or like coaching programs, like Done With You, like like coaching programs,
then creating
like
festivals,
courses,
man, fucking
festivals, merch, you know, going a lot further than, you know, obviously every DJ, even when they're still growing, is probably eventually going to get merch to make some money. But there's so many more opportunities with it, with branding, like having, you know, deals with like other companies to make, like, you know, actually like merch that's not just like jerseys and shirts, but merch that's like functional, you know, like Excision has a weed grinder, you know, stuff like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Making your own alcohol, you know, Snoop Dogg has a tequila, I think, or something, or a wine. He has a wine. Snoop Dogg has a wine. Conor McGregor has a whiskey. Stuff like that. You know, that's like not what we're thinking about right now. But if you want to talk about 20-year plan, like, that's definitely in the 20-year plan. Is bigger stuff like that
that's good, man, because I'm glad you guys are thinking bigger than the small box, right? No amount of people would be like, oh, in 10 years, you know, I want to play like main stage at EDC, right? And I'm like, and
like that's like good.
That's a big goal, but like, I think when you're doing something like this, where in order to progress, you're gonna need money. The first goals have to somewhat involve money, because you need to pay your bills.
Listen, man,
money has to come first, in the sense that you've got to care about it until it pays your bills, and then you can worry about like which specific festivals you're going to play.
I think people get it confused, right? I mean, we are technically in the business of making music or advertising music and doing stuff. Kind of. Our actual like thing is we're actually in the business of making money. Now, if I could sell if I could sell my name in a fucking pen and sell it to every motherfucker for $10, I would, because I'm in the business of making money first, doing what I do second. I do this shit because it's fun, but I also think it's gonna make me money. Nobody does anything for free normally.
Yeah, and I think happiness is super, super important and all that, but like let's not like kid ourselves here and say that anyone that's on a podcast with you, let's be real, for an hour, that's like trying to be an EDM DJ, that reached out to you trying to get that opportunity. No one that comes that is doing it just for fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're all trying to level up here. Exactly.
That's not. Yeah, I don't like it when people try to hide that. It's like, you know, the goal, you're passionate about it and it makes you happy, but the goal isn't to just do it because of that. The goal is to make money off something that you don't hate.
Exactly, man. And
then to get to the point to where you're making enough money that you can choose when you want to work and not. I think that's like the main goal isn't like, you know, being insanely super wealthy, but like having options. And that doesn't mean that we would stop DJing or stop making music. Like, we love it. We just, you know, the financial goal is having the option to not do it on Monday if we don't want to, and then do it on Tuesday instead, one day in 15 years, when we're just like, hopefully, like, continually to collect money off of all the seeds we've already planted.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people still do it because they still love it. Like, for instance, like Deadmau5 doesn't have to perform at festivals.
There'll be a point, hopefully, when I don't have to, you know, do this. But I think that I'll keep doing it either way.
It's fun.
I just can't see myself like not doing shit or not working in some way, you know?
Yeah.
Even if we retire from DJing full time, I'm always going to be doing something. I like to be busy.
People like Deadmau5 and Marshmello could probably retire right now, and their kids would be perfectly fine.
Yeah,
100%, man. They do it 'cause they enjoy it.
They're at having family offices level of wealth.
Yeah, they're just doing it because they love doing it. Like Millennium is in the same boat, and so is Excision probably.
And
Excision 100% is, bro.
Yeah.
And you know, that might not just be happiness. There's that we have to also acknowledge ego in this equation too. And it's like we're not even gonna pretend like we don't have any ego involved in it. Like, it feels good to play at big festivals. It feels like we haven't played at giant festivals yet, but I mean, it feels good to play shows. Like, it feels good to get attention from people. It feels good to like keep gaining status. And I'm sure it feels good for Marshmello to, you know, get the next big giant like collab with, like, you know, he's already gotten so many big superstars, but you know,
exactly, man.
he still hasn't gotten collabs with, you know, Drake and the giantest people in the world.
He could.
And so I'm still someone that's in that position. I'm sure some of his ego is still saying, you know, but I've collabed with Halsey, I've collabed with Khalid, like I've collabed with all these people.
Mm-hmm.
What if I get a collab with Drake or Taylor Swift one day? Like, oh, I gotta keep grinding.
That's true.
I mean, Marshmello? No, Skrillex, I mean, collabed with Justin Bieber, you know what I mean? So it's like,
that's right.
I saw someone say that like what basically makes a successful person is one, like a slight feeling of like, it's a little bit ego, like a slight feeling of needing to, and then two, the biggest one is like always feeling like you're not good enough no matter what you do. And that's
it's like, called being humble.
that's or humble, or, you know, insecure. What it depends on how it depends on how much you let that, you know, control your mind. But I think that comes into play when people get to that point, is like the only reason they got there in the first place is the only reason they're going to continue, is because they're always going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're always going to think like they're never going to be good enough, but they're always going to also on the inside feel like they're a little bit better than people give them credit for. And the combination of the two, and then having someone that's super focused is what makes someone just like keep going to the absolute top.
And I was actually just about to say that, like, the important thing about, you know, having an ego, and well, I don't know. I would probably call it an ego, but I would more like to call it confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The very, very important thing about having confidence is understanding that you're confident that you can do it. Like, you know that you can do it. You know you have the ability. You know you have the potential, but you have to understand that 99.7% of the time, it's never going to happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's what you have to understand. And that's what we've understood. Like, I think both of us are in a mutual understanding with, like, we both fully believe that we have a shitload of potential to be very successful. And we with our entire hearts believe that, and we have every single day for the last year and a half that we've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But we also understand that, you know, we're not going to be playing at Bass Canyon at 7 p.m. like in 2 months. Like, it's not going to happen. It's going to take a long ass time, and both of us are totally okay with that. Yeah. And that's why we work so well together, is because we both have that mutual understanding. We both know that we have so much potential, but it is going to take time, and that's totally fine.
Here's a little, like, I think, nugget that's helped me with like success overall, is Two of them really quick. The first one is the person that thinks in the longest time horizons always wins. So, the person that thinks like, how can I be get rich in 90 days will never be rich. Like whether that's money rich or fame rich or whatever you want a lot of, like the person that thinks that is never gonna get there. And the second one is I completely forgot what I was gonna say. But the first one is definitely longest time horizon, 100%.
It's funny because so I've been doing this whole content creator thing for about, I want to say like 5 years. And back then, my only goal was to get free clothes. That was my only goal, right? I mean, which is so funny because like I'm at my position right now and I'm like, oh man, like I should be fucking getting paid for like this much per podcast and getting paid this much, when it's so funny because like I feel like I've been doing it for so long, I deserve it now because I have my, I sometimes I just get so cocky of myself and I need to be humbled a little bit. Realizing that this was never even my goal from the get-go. My only goal was just to get free clothes. And now that I got that, you always think about leveling up, right? Now I'm like, now I'm thinking like, oh man, like, who could, like, where can I go to a show and start interviewing artists, right? Like, I'm gonna go to somebody's trailer and just interview them for about 20 fucking minutes. You know what I mean? So now that's my goal, which is so funny because that was never a goal in the beginning. It's like, so even though we think small, but we don't even know what our potentials are. I'll tell you this right now, man. 5 years ago, I never thought I'd have a podcast. So like sometimes you don't know your 10-year goal because you don't even know what you're gonna like doing on the way there. It could change. Next thing you know, you're in the fucking business of making festivals because all of a sudden you just found this deep desire to just, instead of playing, having other artists play and see their progression. Fuck, maybe later on you guys want to be like management of a whole bunch of DJs. Like you never know where your life is headed. The good thing that you guys both have is you're very, very fucking young, right? So at this point, if you guys wanted to branch out and do different things on top of what you're already doing, you can, because you didn't even know you even like those things. You're still finding yourselves.
For sure.
What?
I remembered what I was going to say, by the way. If everyone could sign a contract that said they would have X, like $1 million, $1 million, be successful, or maybe they just want, wife, kids, 3-bedroom house, a 401k that's going to keep them alive for the next 4 years, whatever. If everyone could sign a contract and say, I'm going to have absolutely nothing for 10 years, but after 10 years, I'll get exactly like everything. They would. The problem is no one lives their lives that way. The problem is like no one thinks like, oh, what do I have to do to where if I just keep doing this, it would be unreasonable that if I do it for long enough, like that I'm not successful. Like it's like whatever. That kind of goes back to the first thing I said about the like, trying to be successful in a month, 90 days, a year thing. It's like if you think, how do I get this right away? Like, it's not going to happen right away. But if you think, what do I need to do every day to make sure that in 10 years, 20 years, like it would be unreasonable if I just don't quit, like I'm going to be successful. It'd be unreasonable to not be successful. If you just made music and made content every day, posted music once a month, did everything you need for it might not work in 2 years, it might not work in 3 years, it might not work in 4 years, but like eventually there are things we know that if we do just over and over again, it's gonna work.
I think go ahead.
A lot of people will think that like you see people blowing up overnight all the time. Like you look at people like Zingara, you look at people like Amorphic that have just bursted onto the scene. Yeah, they did blow up very quickly, but what people don't realize is that those two, and I mean other people that I'm not thinking of right now, but other people that have had very quick success have probably been working on their craft and their brand for so long, and then like the time that they blew up is just their time.
And so have those people. Is the thing is the blow up might happen quick because something like clicked, like something worked, like they finally got it right. But I mean, you go to Lil Nas X is a great example. Everyone thinks that is just a random luck of the odds, like viral hit that just blew up out of absolutely nowhere, and it seems that way. But if you actually look back and see what he was doing, I mean, like the man is a marketing genius. He promoted the song for 6 months continuously without stopping. Like that's what worked, and that's what works. Is like he was continued promotion, like doing everything. Yeah. Like if you look at his strategy, like it was there. Like he didn't just post it and drop out. Like the dude had been working on his stuff for a long time before. The brand was purposeful. Like he wasn't. It was like it was supposed to be like a joke song. Like it was supposed to like be like that. Like it was purposeful. It wasn't some random song. And he really grinded it out for like a while before that song. Like I heard it a while before it blew up, and it took a while for it to get there. And it's because he kept like doing over and over and over promotion. And then once it was already at the top of the charts, you know, then you get that alternate version. that's what really slammed it home and made it like, I mean, I hate to say this, but it is the most popular song that's ever been released by all metrics.
I mean, if you look at Lil Nas's TikTok, there's just like his entire feed is just him promoting his songs. And then he replies to people that comment on there to give him more videos. I mean, this man has racked more millions of views per like videos than most people on TikTok. And
he's got it down, man. As much as I hate to say it, because I was never a big fan of his music, and that's nothing on him. You know, that's just like my personal taste. I was never a big fan of it. But like the dude's a marketing genius. Yeah. He knows how to do it, and he knows how to do it very, very well.
Oh, and
he quite obviously has done a very, very good job.
Like trust me, if we like if say I had that same song just like made, you know, maybe I made it, maybe I ghost produced. I promise you right now, I would not be able to make it a 17-week Billboard #1. Like that isn't random. It might seem random, and in the type of song does obviously play into it. Like it's got to be catchy, like it is. It's got to be the formula of song that will go viral. But like it doesn't just happen by accident. Like the most of the people you see blow up have been grinding for a while. Yeah. And they've been adjusting and like slowly seeing what works and keying in on different factors of what works. And then when they blow up, it's just because they finally got the missing piece. Like it's like they've been building this puzzle forever and they just got the missing piece. It's not that they just like threw this puzzle down in 30 minutes.
Yeah, they found
the one piece that just like they thought it was this one that was like kind of crooked. But it was really another piece they just didn't know about that they needed to throw on there last minute, and then everything like works. It's like there's a lot of grinding that goes into a lot of these people that blow up before they blow up. You just don't see it. You just think it happened quick because the blow up happened quick. But they might have been grinding for 10 years before that.
It's funny because there are some DJs that will really like, they just talk so much shit over like one artist, like, oh my God, if it wasn't for that one song, but it was that one song. It was, and you're just mad that it wasn't yours. That's all it is. Sorry, bro, that we've been grinding for 3 years and you've been grinding for 10 years the wrong way. Bro, if you gave me 10 fucking...
doing things the right way is so much more important. Like everybody wants to talk about grind culture, like hustle, hustle, hustle. Yeah. You know, and you know, I like to work on our stuff. I spend, you know, 50 plus hours a week on our music at least. But it's not about like it's not about how much time you're just throwing at it. It's about what you do. It's about the few things that you do that are like the most important things. Like a really good saying is the most advanced people always do the basics. They never skip the basics. like that. There's no advanced thing that they have that's just like perfect. They just like, you know, they just always wake up like at the same time every day, and you know, get their cup of coffee and then just start working, and they pick like very specific things that matter, like you know, and it's they pick things that will have a big impact per action.
And always say yes to every opportunity that you get. Honestly, just starting off, like, what's the worst that can happen if you say yes to a fucking festival? Even if you don't get paid, cool. At least your fucking name was on the flyer. At least there's exposure. So, you know, starting off is really hard, honestly. Once you get to like the middle realm where you can finally start headlining and stuff like that, then you can start being picky and choosy, because at this point they're working around your schedule. But like when you're just starting off, it's really important to just say yes to as many opportunities as you can, because you never know who's listening, man. You know, you never know who's there. You never know who's going to put in a fucking good word and be like, because, you know, when you guys are playing, a lot of like the management and like the people running the shows are looking at you like, damn, they're good. Who are these fucking guys are? Where'd you get them from? You know, they talk, somebody else is listening. Well, damn, they are good. Send it to somebody else.
And like, and you're referencing like gatekeepers, like managers, you know, record companies, etc. But I think what's also important is like, is taking that same thing you said, you don't know who's watching, and applying it to all humans on earth. Like, it doesn't matter if they're in a position of power. If you do the right thing with one person, that can turn into 100 fans.
Oh, 100%.
Like word of mouth is so much more powerful than anything else. And it's what the best like companies on the planet know. Is like Apple products, Apple people will shit talk people that don't like that don't use iPhones.
Yeah.
Like they will shit talk them. Like that's the kind of that the product is promoting itself. Like they wouldn't have to run ads ever again. They don't have to run ads.
Yeah, because somebody with an iPhone will just do it for them.
Because people are diehard iPhone users.
Yeah. Well, that's called loyalty, right? And how do you build loyalty without having a good brand?
Yeah, for sure.
So at this point, you know, you guys have to like find a way of grabbing this loyalty. And a lot of the times it comes with who you know. If you know somebody that is just amazing, he's also starting out, but he's always headlining and he's bringing you guys along with him, people are going to notice that. Like, man, you guys are always with so-and-so, you know, that's a huge thing. You get a good friend that's also a DJ that's literally telling you guys are going to go somewhere. Once you find somebody that believes in you, man, takes you under their wing, I mean, keep grinding it out the way you've been doing, because it's working, and they're going to take you along with them, you know. It's always about friends helping other friends. Have you guys ever thought of what would happen if you guys got in a really big fight?
I don't know. I
don't think we would ever put ourselves or each other in a position to where we like, you know, I mean, there have been times where we get into like disagreements, but like we're both the type of people that we don't like to let shit escalate. Like we just like to handle it right then and there. And then, like if there ever is a problem, we handle it right then and there, like adults, because it's just childish to blow shit up and yell. So we just like we're straightforward type of people where we just like to handle it and then solve the issue and then just move on.
And sorry for cutting it off now, but I got plans, so we got
this was the exit. Where can you guys actually you're good. Where can people find you guys? What are your guys' handles? Where can people look up your music?
On pretty much everything, TikTok, Instagram, SoundCloud. I think Facebook too. It's Music by Nimbvs with a V instead of a U. And then Twitter is the only one that's different. It's Nimbvs 904.
But I think on Twitter and Facebook, the Nimbvs is a U because
Facebook's a V. It's just Twitter. Twitter's Nimbvs with a U 904.
Yeah, because we weren't allowed to change it for some stupid reason.
Oh, weird. Well, I'll put everything down in the description below. For the viewers out there, this episode will be available on basically every platform to include SoundCloud, and the video version will be on YouTube. And like I say at every single episode, I will catch y'all at the next one. Bye.
Cheers.